Have you ever reflected on why the more you insist, the more she seems to move away, as if she were running away from an overdue charge? Well, maybe now you've realized that insisting doesn't get you anywhere and decided to back off a little. And then the big question arises, does she miss you, or is she having fun at your expense with her friends while ignoring you? Let's nip your illusions in the bud. If you're imagining that this will end with her regretting it, texting you in the early hours of the morning and begging for a second chance, I'm sorry to say, but you're living in a bad romantic comedy script. The reality is much more complex, and guess what? The center of this story is her ego. And there's something you need to understand about the female ego. It's an independent entity, more resilient than your self-esteem and as dangerous as a shared Wi-Fi password. When you stop chasing, something changes. But no, she's not mourning his absence to the sound of melancholy music. What matters to her is not just what you do or don't do, but the meaning behind it. And a spoiler, silence can be an efficient strategy, but only if you know how to apply it with surgical precision. And honestly, I have my doubts if you can do it. Today, we're going to dissect this emotional dynamic. Let's understand what happens in her heart, or rather her ego, when you simply disappear. And believe me, what emerges is not just longing, but a mix of confusion and insecurity, a whirlwind of doubts that, if handled well, can turn into desire. But be careful, one false step and the entire effect disappears. And let's be honest, you've probably messed up before. Now, a quick question. Have you tried this strategy of disappearing to see if she comes back? Did it work, or did you just become an inside joke among her friends? I want to know. Not because I really care, but because if I'm going to make fun of you, I'd rather have solid arguments. Now it's time to stop just consuming high-value content without actually being part of the change. Supporting those who build every detail of this teaching and seek to help other warriors is an act of nobility. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of the next videos. I make this daily. Commitment to you, so commit to me. This merciless machine called the YouTube algorithm is ruthless. It only respects numbers and only delivers content to more people this way. Support and help lift up many noble men who need these tough, yet sincere and uplifting words. Now, without further ado, let's get to the point, or at least what will keep you intrigued for a few minutes, while you try to understand if it's love or just wounded pride. The first impact. What do you mean he doesn't want me anymore? The minute you stop acting like a puppy chasing her, the first reaction is shock, a mix of surprise and confusion. What do you mean he disappeared? Wasn't he always there, like public Wi-Fi? Yeah, now you're no longer available, and that short-circuits her ego. Not in the heart, let's be real. He hadn't even entered the equation yet. His absence is a direct blow to her pride, and not the soft ones, but one that really leaves marks. She begins to wonder, has he gotten tired? Is there someone else? What if I'm not as amazing as I thought I was? This type of doubt is not only uncomfortable, but a real earthquake to her ego. And that, my friend, is pure gold for your strategy. Now, here's the crux. Even if she didn't care about you before, just leaving the scene changes everything. It's the old story of no one appreciating it while they have it, but missing it when they lose it. She doesn't start to miss you per se, but your insistence, the power she had over you. And here's the cruel detail. Silence doesn't make noise, it whispers. And do you know what he whispers? Did he give up because he realized I'm not worth it? Did he find someone better? These questions become an uncomfortable soundtrack in her mind, and their absence is the melody. But be careful. This is the critical moment. Most men can't take it and break the silence with a pathetic message like, "Hi, missing," or "I just wanted to know if everything's okay." Congratulations, you've just returned to the position of emotional doormat. And do you know what she thinks when that happens? Ah, there, he's back, how predictable. And your entire strategy goes down the drain. Want to know the secret to making this work? Hang in there. Hold this silence as if it were the last chocolate bar on the shelf. It is in this void that she begins to notice his absence, even if it is against her will. Missing you isn't just a departure, it's a blow to her ego. And the more she wonders why you disappeared, the more space you take up in her head. Irony of fate, no two. Doubt begins. Did I lose? Now we've reached the point where the game becomes really interesting. After the initial impact, the gnawing doubt arises. Did I lose him? If you played your cards right, this question will repeat. In her mind, like bubblegum music. Yesterday you were an emotional lampshade, always there, always accessible. Now you have become a total blackout. And her ego, this insatiable little monster, doesn't know how to deal with it. She begins to wonder, has he gotten tired? Has he gotten over me? What if I'm not so irresistible? And this is where things get good. Her ego conflicts with logic. On the one hand, she believes you should be desperate for attention. On the other hand, his silence begins to seem intriguing, because the human ego, and hers in particular, loves to chase what it can't have. What happens then? Curiosity. But not the kind that makes someone open a book to learn something new. It's the FBI type. She starts scouring his social media. Every story, every like, every detail becomes a clue in the puzzle of, why isn't he creeping after me anymore? But curiosity alone is not enough. Soon it turns into restlessness. Because silence doesn't just irritate, it screams. Is he with someone else? Is he better off without me? Has he realized he can find something better? These thoughts begin to eat away at her ego and, in addition, poke at that heart that, until then, was frozen. And here comes the icing on the cake. When doubt dominates you, it can begin to show signs of life. A like on an old photo, a hi missing, or even a how are you? Not because he really wants you back, but because he needs to restore a sense of control. Here's the golden rule. Don't fall into the trap. These crumbs are just an attempt to pull you back into her game. If you give in now, congratulations, you've just started the cycle again, so resist. Let doubt do the dirty work for you. Because while she's wondering, have I lost him? You're gaining more and more ground, and best of all, she still thinks she's in control. How should you act? Simple, don't be a weakling. First rule, don't give in. As tempting as it may be, don't throw away all the effort of your absence just to say, hi, how are you? If you give that gap, all the power you built disappears faster than the dignity in a message viewed and ignored. The secret is to be present, but unreachable. Really live your life, or at least make it seem like you are. Post a photo at the gym. Excellent. Going out with friends. Perfect. An unexpected trip. Excellent. Just don't fall into the trap of seeming forced, like that guy who posts random motivational phrases so she thinks you've become a philosopher. Nobody buys this idea. The trick is moderate authenticity. Show that you are busy and happy, but without turning your life into a dramatic soap opera to attract attention. Do you know why? Because authenticity disarms. If she realizes that you are trying to provoke her, the spell turns against the wizard. And the game ends before it begins. Remember, doubt is a slow poison, and that's exactly what you want. Every second she spends wondering if you're okay without her, if you regret something, or if you've just moved on, is another second you occupy her mind. This is pure gold. But be careful. Eternal silence is not a strategy. It is giving up. If you disappear completely, she might just accept that she lost you and move on. Doubt has an expiration date, so don't confuse strategy with amateurism. If you're tired of being the predictable guy, her plan B when she's bored, it's time to redefine your approach. Stop being too accessible, too easy, and become the unknown she can't ignore. Do you want to learn how to really change the game? So download the exclusive material in the description and start applying strategies that really work. Enough of being an emotional doormat. Change starts now, and it starts with you. Either you remain just her emergency option, or you take control of your story. The choice is yours. The danger. When she decides to move forward. Welcome to the risk zone, where the tables can turn but not in your favor. Here, exaggerating silence can be the fatal error for your strategy. For now, doubt is her most powerful ally, but if she feels total disinterest, her show is over. Her ego has already been shaken. She has already snooped around her networks, perhaps even rehearsed some messages. But if you ignore everything for too long, she might wonder, why am I wasting my time? Human beings need reciprocity, even if minimal. If she feels that her silence has turned into total abandonment, Her ego will do what any well-trained ego does: protect itself. And how? Erasing you from effective memory as if you were a spam email. At that point, it doesn't matter what you do. When a woman decides to move on, she does so with surgical precision, rewriting the narrative in her own mind. You stop being an intriguing mystery and become a mistake that has already been corrected. And reversing that decision is as easy as freezing hell. How to avoid this catastrophe? The secret is simple: balance. It's not about disappearing as if you had entered the witness protection program, but about maintaining a strategic presence. You want her to miss you, but without ever being sure that she has completely lost you. Here are some practical tips to avoid becoming just a forgotten ghost. Respond slowly, but don't ignore everything. If she sends you a message, wait a while before responding, but don't leave her without replying. Nothing too warm, just casual. Something like, I saw it now, is everything okay? This keeps the doubt alive without feeling like a forced game. Show subtle signs of life. An occasional post, a light presence, but without exaggeration. Don't post something forced like, living my best moment, holding a glass of wine in Paris. Be natural and strategic. Reappear strategically. If you feel like she's really forgetting you, a casual approach could reignite the doubt. A silly comment on a photo, a message like, I saw this and remembered you. Nothing that reveals desperation, just enough to show that you're still out there. What to never do? Apologize for the silence. This only confirms that you were manipulating the situation, and no one likes to feel played. Show desperation. Messages followed asking, why don't you respond? They just turn you into the cliché she was trying to forget. Force a quick rapprochement. No, we need to talk out of nowhere. This sounds more like panic than strategy. In short, silence is a powerful weapon, but a double-edged blade. Use it with surgical precision. Disappearing completely only works in bad romance movies. In real life, the key is to be present enough to be remembered and absent enough to be desired. The best indicator that you're playing right? When she starts making moves to win you back. At that moment, the board is yours and you decide the next moves. Now that you understand the dynamics of strategic silence and balance in your approach, it's time to reflect on the real lesson behind it all. The issue was never just about her, but about you. About the value you give to yourself, the respect you have for your own story, and the way you position yourself in the world. When you stop chasing, you're not just applying a strategy, you're taking control of your life. Change starts within you. If before you were predictable, always available and easy to decipher, now you become an unknown quantity, someone who arouses interest because you don't give yourself away on a plate. This process is not just about awakening someone's desire, but about becoming a more confident man who doesn't depend on external validation to feel complete. Strategic silence is not manipulation, it is emotional intelligence. It is the ability to demonstrate that you are a man with a life of your own, with goals, objectives, and unshakable self-esteem. When you value yourself, the world notices, and when the world notices, people start to see you differently. But be careful, none of this works if it's just a facade. There's no point in pretending you're fine while you're eating up inside waiting for an answer. True transformation happens when you understand that your happiness cannot depend on anyone other than yourself. The game changes when you realize it should never have been about winning someone back, but rather about winning yourself back. So if this content made sense to you, if it helped you see things in a different way, do your part. Like this video, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any valuable tips. And of course, share with that friend who needs to hear this message. Now tell me, have you tried applying these strategies? How it was? Comment your experience below. I want to know the stories, the victories, the mistakes, and even the most shameful moments. After all, we only grow when we learn from what we live. See you in the next video. Until then, keep evolving and never forget, the respect you receive from the world begins with the respect you have for yourself. There comes a moment in every man's journey where he must confront not just the silence of someone else, but the deafening noise inside his own mind, the echoes of self-doubt, the questions that have no immediate answers, and the haunting thought, did I lose her? Or did I lose myself trying to win her? If you've walked with me this far, you've probably been there, giving too much, asking for little, and then wondering why everything slipped through your fingers. But let me tell you something that may shift your entire perspective. The woman was never the reward. Your growth was. When you stop chasing, the first thing you meet is not peace, but discomfort. That space of not knowing what comes next can feel suffocating. But it's in that stillness where the real transformation begins. It's in the quiet that you start to hear your own voice again. And for many men, that's the voice they haven't heard in years. Let's be honest, most of us weren't taught how to navigate emotional loss or even emotional distance. We were taught to try harder, to prove our worth, to fight for love. But what if the real power lies not in proving, but in preserving our dignity? You see, strategic silence isn't just a tactic, it's a declaration. A declaration that your time, your presence, your heart are not things to be begged for or bartered away. They are sacred. They have value, and anyone who doesn't recognize that isn't ready to stand beside you. When you pulled away, you didn't just leave her wondering. You gave yourself the gift of reflection. You began to reclaim the energy you were wasting on someone else's validation. And that energy, that's the fuel for everything you're about to become. Let's take a deeper look at what this experience really teaches you. Self-respect is non-negotiable. The moment you stopped chasing was not a moment of loss. It was a moment of self-respect, of choosing to no longer pour into a cup that never poured back, of realizing that your value isn't measured by how much you sacrifice, but by how much you refuse to settle. Respect isn't demanded from others. It begins within. If you've been ignored, mocked, used, or taken for granted and you kept giving, this was your wake-up call. This is your chance to draw a line in the sand, because when you learn to walk away from what dishonors you, you begin to walk towards what will elevate you. Her ego reacted, but that's not love, yes. She may have checked your stories. Maybe she sent a vague message or liked an old photo. But let's be brutally honest. That doesn't mean she misses you. Often it means her ego misses the control, and this is where your discernment matters. If you mistake her moment of curiosity for a sign of love, you'll fall right back into the trap. Her temporary confusion does not mean emotional investment. Don't settle for breadcrumbs. You're not starving anymore. When you step back, you force others to show their true intentions. Real love doesn't just reappear when you disappear. It stays consistent whether you're near or far. And if that wasn't the case, then what? Your grieving isn't love. It's the illusion of it. You are not meant to chase. You are meant to build. A man who is always chasing cannot build. He has no foundation because he's always running. But when you stop, when you finally stop, something shifts. You start building again. Brick by brick, you reconstruct your confidence, your goals, your future. And in doing so, you attract not just a woman, but the right kind of woman. One who respects your time, one who honors your peace, one who doesn't just want attention but connection. And that doesn't come to the man who's begging, it comes to the man who's becoming. So, what should you be doing now? Everything you put on hold while trying to win someone who never saw your worth. Go to the gym not to impress her, but to strengthen your discipline. Read, not to look smart, but to sharpen your mind. Level up your finances, your health, your spiritual life, not to prove a point, but to finally live with purpose. Because when you become the man you were meant to be, love isn't something you chase. It's something you choose, carefully and wisely. Emotional detachment is strength, not coldness. Maybe you've been called cold for stepping back. Maybe someone told you that you're being manipulative or emotionally distant. But here's the truth. Detachment isn't cruelty. It's clarity. It's knowing what you deserve and refusing to cling to what confuses you. Emotional detachment is not about shutting your heart. It's about protecting it until someone proves they are worthy of it. Don't confuse silence with weakness. And don't confuse reaction with affection. If she's playing games, staying silent is the loudest message you can send. You are not available for disrespect anymore. You are not accessible just because she's bored. You have boundaries now. And boundaries, my friend, are the birth of self-love. 5. This was never about winning. Her back, it's tempting to believe that all of this is a strategy to win her attention, to make her regret, to make her chase. But if that's still your goal, you haven't truly understood the lesson. This isn't about her anymore. It never really was. This is about the moment you realize that your value doesn't change based on someone else's opinion. That love isn't something to earn. It's something to share when it's mutual, when it's real, when it's healthy. You can't lose someone who never truly saw you, and you can't keep someone who only stays when you chase. Let this be the season where you stop looking back and start looking inward. You deserve a love that doesn't confuse you. Your real love isn't confusing. It doesn't play games. It doesn't make you guess where you stand. Real love brings clarity, peace, and growth. So if she's still playing the same old games, let her play them alone. You've outgrown that level. You're no longer the man who waits for half-hearted texts at midnight or settles for lukewarm affection. You deserve fire. You deserve consistency. You deserve to be loved the way you love, deeply, loyally, and without apology. And you will find that love, not by chasing it, but by becoming it. So what now? Now you stand at a crossroads. You can continue looking back, wondering if she'll ever realize what she lost, or you can move forward, becoming the man she'll never have access to again. Not out of spite, but out of evolution. Because the real victory isn't her regret. The real victory is you becoming so complete, so strong and so centered, that you no longer wait to be chosen. You choose yourself first, and when you do that, everything changes. If this message spoke to your heart, I want you to take action, not for me, for yourself. If you're tired of being the fallback, the backup, the predictable one, let today mark a shift. Hit the like button to affirm your decision to evolve. Subscribe to this channel if you're ready to walk a new path of emotional strength and masculine clarity. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a message that could change the direction of your life. And if this resonated with you in a deep way, leave a comment below. Tell me your story, your struggle, your turning point. Someone else out there needs to read your words to find the courage for their own journey. And share this with a brother who might be stuck where you were. You might be the reason he starts healing. Until next time, stand tall, live with purpose, and never forget, the world treats you according to the value you give yourself. You were never just chasing her. You were chasing the version of yourself that finally knew his worth. Now go become him.